The right of the people to keep and wear orange shall not be infringed. Welcome to the Q's Militia Podcast with those two unapologetically biased orange-blooded homers, Sean and Joe. Give us a like on Facebook at Q's Militia Podcast and follow on Twitter at Q's Militia.
All right, what's up, Q's Nation? Thanks for tuning in to the Q's Militia Podcast with Sean and Joe. If you like it, please share it with your friends and family. And if you do listen on iTunes, we would really appreciate if you could give a rating and a review. That helps us get noticed by other people, especially Q's fans who are searching iTunes for a good Q Sports podcast to listen to. So, and as always, subscribe. That would be awesome. So today we're going to look at the 2018 Syracuse Orange football offensive unit. But first, real quick, I want to say thanks to James on guitar. That's my buddy James. I've never given James a formal shout-out on the air on guitar in the open and the close of the show. So give him his due. And special thanks to Zach. He's a listener that reached out to us, and we have kind of been, I don't know, Joe, what would you call it? What would we be like on Twitter? Not very active. We needed some help. Anyway, Zach helped us out with that, and he deserves a shout out. So we'll actually try to get Zach on during basketball season. So that's it. And speaking of which, social media, we did, before we get into the offense and all that stuff, we did put out a Twitter poll at SYRBall, B-A-L-L, at SYRBALL. And the question was, if I could find it, if Dungey stays healthy this year, how many games will the Orange win? So, Joe, what personally would you say? The choices were 0 to 5, 6 to 8, or 9+.
I probably would have went with the majority.
The majority was 68, 65% of 305 people voted for around 6 to 8. I think 6 or 7 was my number. And I think it, back when the schedule came out. 9+, 20% believe that they're going to win 9+, and a measly 15% thinks that they'll only win 0 to 5 games. So
it's kind of amazing to me.
But. Yeah, I mean the question is too. I mean there is a preface to the question, which is if Dungey stays healthy.
Right.
So
I just think it's kind of crazy that there's more people that pick 9+ than 0 to 5.
I know that's a good point. A good point. So speaking of Dungey, we did do the numbers on Dungey. You put together like a quick little hit. And we did it in the last episode, and we tweeted it. But just real quick, hit on that, and then I want to go into some things Dungey so far in his career. I mean, he is a senior, so right. He's got some things built up, and he might have done things that I don't think maybe some people haven't realized. So go ahead.
Yeah, well, I try not to count his freshman year. I mean, he was kind of exciting, but he was definitely, small.
Which reminds me, dude, he's huge now.
Yeah.
He's huge. So.
Yeah. So when his first year under Schaefer, when Terrell Hunt got hurt, he played good, but he just wasn't ready to do that, and he got knocked out a couple of times. He got injured, and so for the sake of, obviously this argument, I mean, Schaefer's not here anymore as a new head coach. So I just looked back the last 2 years underneath Coach Babers. And, looking back at it, we've had a very, very difficult schedules in both years, especially last year. And to see just the difference from the first year to the second year, first year we played against some great offenses, some great quarterbacks, and it was a first-year transition in a different system. So, but still, on top of all of that, out of all the games that Dungey has finished in the last 2 years, we've been 8-9, and we haven't won a game when he hasn't started. So, or finished the game, I should say.
Right.
And the only teams that we've lost to that didn't make a bowl game that year was just one, and it was Notre Dame our first year. So last year you saw it when he was in there. I think we definitely should have won that Middle Tennessee State game, and I think there were some emotions and some stuff going on in that game. But all the other games that we lost when Dungy healthy against, basically good names. You hear LSU, Miami, Florida State, Clemson, NC State. I mean, NC State last year was pretty good, but you hear those teams. I mean, those are football pedigree teams. So that's what you hear, and we played those teams tough and definitely saw a difference from one to the other. And I expected, if we see a similar jump in a season where we don't have as difficult schedule as we've had the last couple of years, I just think there's a very good chance to have a pretty good season. So,
yeah, they got him listed now 6'3", 202. Like you said, he kind of started out small, but he's like
230.
Right, exactly. Over the offseason, he's gained a ton of weight, and it's all muscle too. The guy's jacked. In how many games was he out last year? 5? 4?
No, it was 3.
Was it only 3? Okay, my bad. Well, in 2017, he still threw for 2,495 yards, 14 touchdowns. He finished with a QB rating of 122.8, becoming SU's most proficient quarterback since Ryan Nassib. I thought that was crazy because, you could go either way with those numbers improving or, maybe.
He almost had 600 yards rushing too.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think 10 rushing touchdowns.
Right. So well, he said, he's gained some weight. He's feeling good. His foot is feeling good, and that, basically he's got a new foot right now. Okay, that makes me feel good.
Yes.
But we'll see. I think he needs to be a little more careful. In his junior season, he set a record. He ranked 6th at the FBS, which is the Football Bowl subdivision, in total offense for 343.3 yards per game, and topped the ACC for completions of 25. So in 9 games, he completed 225 out of 337 pass attempts, 59.7 for 2,495 yards. 14 touchdowns and 9 interceptions. So, that was his junior year. Those stats come from a good little website. If you haven't been there, sujuiceonline.com. You ever check that one out, Joe?
Yeah, I checked it out every once in a while.
All right.
I think overall he had, combined close to 3,000 yards rushing, and I think it was 24 touchdowns. So it's pretty good for 9 games.
Yeah, it is. So we've got let's take a look at the running backs, and then you have to take over for the receiving core, because that's where it gets a little murky, I think.
Well, before we go to the running backs, I do want to hit on the fact that we do have some depth. We've grown some depth in that position. It's not going to be Zach Mahoney coming in anymore if Dungy does get hurt.
True, right.
So, there's Tommy DeVito, Rex Culpepper, great story with him and beating his cancer over the summer and coming in and throwing a touchdown in spring ball, So, but I think Tommy DeVito is a step up from Mahoney, even though he's inexperienced, and definitely think that there's a chance that I'm more confident now than I have been in the past 3 years that a backup can actually come in and maybe win a game if the starter does get hurt. So,
Yeah,
so
but
I'm definitely a little happy about that, but at the same time, that's not to say that I want to see Dungy go down. So
no, absolutely not.
Nothing more than me. I'd love nothing more than to see him his senior year finally finish the season and bring Syracuse to a bowl game on his way out. So.
Absolutely, and that's kind of what I'm hoping for. That'd be a great, perfect ending to a career where he gave everything.
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
The talent the gap has narrowed for sure with DeVito. I think everybody feels that. There's a little bit more confidence with fans in DeVito. So
yeah,
obviously. So with
one of the running backs.
With that said, Dante Strickland, he's a senior this year, 5'11", 204 pounds. That's what he's listed as. He's appeared in 34 games, and his career rushed for 1,129 yards with 311 carries, 9 touchdowns, 48 receptions, 411 yards, and 4 TDs. So last year he finished third on the team with 482 yards and 4 scores. Pretty good, solid player. solid player with a great backup. I mean, you have anything to say about Strickland being a senior?
No, I mean,
it's pretty.
He's been good. I'm hoping for a breakout senior year. You saw glimpses last year. There were some teams that he definitely had some good runs against. That really good touchdown where against Clemson, the first one to open the game, where he caught a little swing pass and or a little out and broke a tackle and went up the sideline. So you see glimpses. And he's definitely, I think, our best pass protection running back. So that's one of the main reasons why you're going to see him starting in there. But they're going to be splitting carries between him and Mo Neal. So
right. And is there anything to be said for when Dino came in and he did move to the up-tempo offense? There's maybe some struggle with the running backs and stuff like that because there was some. If you look at the first year with Dino there, he was averaging 3.2 yards, and he improved to 4.1 last season. That's a solid gain. And, to me, 4.1 yards a carry, that's pretty good. I mean, it's not spectacular,
it's not
but
bad.
It's good.
No.
So anything to be said for the up-tempo offense? You think maybe, it took some while to acclimate to it or anything like that?
You really never know. I mean, all that really comes down to, you really have to get down to the nuts and bolts of the thing and understand the player a little bit better and be able to actually watch him. So, I mean, some players play better in certain systems than others. That's why certain people are recruited to certain systems and teams. But some can find a home pretty much anywhere. So you don't really know. And we weren't in practice and didn't really see the internal struggles. So you never really know. But it seems like he picked it up better than any of the other running backs, and that's why he's been starting this whole time. So.
By the way, those numbers too, the average from 3.2 to 4.1, that was the running backs as an entire unit. So just so you know.
And hopefully that'll get higher with our offensive line. So
and I think Mo Neal, I think he's going to be a junior this year.
Yeah, he's a playmaker. He's a speedy guy.
He is. I think what was his first play
for a touchdown?
Yeah, wasn't it?
His freshman year. Yeah.
Yeah. What was it? I had it on here. Anyway, it doesn't matter. No. He's listed as 5'11", 191, and he in 24 games he's rushed for 845 yards, 3 touchdowns on 163 carries. He also caught 14 passes for 176 yards and a touchdown. Yeah, his first rush was a 49-yard score.
Yeah, so I would look to see him probably go out and catch more balls this year.
Like screens and stuff like that, or
yeah. And I mean, there was talk of him possibly moving him to slot when he first got there, because I mean, Herb Phillips came in as a running back and moved to slot, so there was talk about it. I did read an article that he bulked up a little bit this year, so he's going to be physically more ready to go in there and pass block and gain the coach's confidence when it comes to that kind of stuff. So,
I mean, he does average 12.6 yards per reception.
Yeah. He's
pretty awesome.
He's a playmaker, man.
Yeah, and he averages 5.3 yards per rush.
They mixed it up. So
yeah, Babers loves him too. He spoke highly of him. So
yeah.
And he finished. I guess he finished the last 2 games of last season.
Strickland was hurt.
Yeah, 98 yards, 19 carries against Louisville, and 88 yards, 13 rushes against BC. So, I think look for him to have a breakout year, in my opinion.
I think overall the running backs are just going to look better as a whole this year. I haven't heard too much about Mackenzie Pierre, the freshman that played a little bit last year, who was third string. He had expectations coming in, but he's still young. And I've actually heard some pretty good things out of camp as far as Jarvion Howard, the freshman running back out of Mississippi that we went and pulled out of Mississippi, small school out in the country. And they say that guy is just built like a truck. Like for an 18-year-old kid, the kid is pretty big size, and I know that at some point here soon or shortly or before the season, we're probably going to hear more about whether or not he's going to play or not. But from what I've heard, he's definitely, if he can get in there and learn the playbook, then the guy's definitely physically ready to come in and help us. So,
yeah, Cool. All right. Well, anything else? You have anything else you want to touch on as far as running backs go?
I think that, like you were saying, I think that just overall as a whole, I think that all the running backs are just going to look better and have better stats this year based upon the fact that our offensive line, Dino Babers, he said it in the ACC Media Day that it's the best offensive line that he's had since he's been here. So why wouldn't we be able to run the ball better?
Yeah, absolutely. And just real quick, too, speaking of Babers, the scrimmage, if it's worth anything, we'll do the defense next week, but he did say that scrimmage they had last Saturday, that he said, put it this way, the defense is up 1-0. So, not for anything. You always want to see your offense do good, and some people may be like, oh, really? But no, I think that's a good sign. I think it's a good sign that the defense is, because they switched, and we'll talk about more. We'll talk more about that. Well, next week.
I think that's part of the glaring weakness. I think probably Babers set it up that way because from what I've heard out of camp, the D-backs have just been destroying the wide receivers this year in camp so far. Yeah.
Well, that's not much to say too about the receiving core is kind of young.
No, yeah, it's young and it's just not even hit the first chapter of what it could be by the end of the year, you know?
Yeah.
There's just so much opportunity out there, and competition breeds competition, and all we need is some guys to just step up. I mean, they were all the man in high school. You were all confident like that in high school, and then you step up and play better competition, and you got to have that same mentality, and you just got to hope that some of these new guys we got coming in or some of the redshirt freshmen that are coming in from sitting out last year have that.
You got Cordy back there now on defense. He used to play a little slot receiver too. So,
well, they tried to.
They tried to move him in.
I mean, he's always played safety, but they tried to throw him in there, and I guess he went up to Babers during spring practice and told him he didn't want to play there. So,
yeah, basically.
Babers is basically, well, I'm not going to play somebody where he doesn't want to play.
Exactly.
That makes no sense.
Yeah.
So, I'd say that there's definitely a big question mark, and I think that we have returning talent with experience, but it's all inconsistent, and that's really where the question marks come up.
Who do you look to? Who do you look to lead to be the leader on the wide receiver end? Like, who can be the go-to guy that's gonna get it done? You know, on maybe 3rd and 5 or 3rd and 6. You know,
I think that it could be a lot of people. I think that we've spent a lot of scholarships the past couple of years bringing in receivers. We've moved some people into different other positions and stuff like that. And honestly, I think you start with Jamal Custis, senior. He's got all the physical tools, and he's had good camps, and you've heard about it for the past 2 years about how he's the next breakout star. And it was always somebody else, Amba Atao or Steve Ishmael. And now this is his last chance to basically, to do it. And you have Devin Butler, who's going to be a junior, and he's definitely got some experience and he had some good plays last year. He was a former quarterback, so he's thrown a couple touchdowns as well and some trick plays, but he's inconsistent as well. And Sean Riley as well is another name that you probably remember more for special teams, with doing kickoffs and punt returns. He did play slot, catch some balls, but again, inconsistent. The one play I think about him last year was the drop that he had in the end zone at LSU that could have put us over the edge against LSU down there in Baton Rouge and just right through his hands. So again, just inconsistency from the top 3, the most experience, and it's more like just drops, So really, you're looking for people that can just come in, and anybody underneath them, if they come in with any type of consistency with catching the ball, then I don't think the experience or the physical, comparison is going to matter. So, and other names that I've heard underneath him is Nykeem Johnson, who played last year as a true freshman. Not that much, you probably don't remember him, but he was really highly touted coming out of the camps last year, and they thought he was probably going to do more than what he did. And then they have freshmen that they're talking about out of camp, Anthony Quealy and Ed Henricks, who are both true freshmen, and they're saying that they're making some good plays in camp. Sherrod Johnson, redshirt freshman last year, alongside with Cameron Jordan and even Russell Thompson Bishop. True freshman Cooper Lutz, who was a running back in high school that's transitioning to slot receiver, really good playmaker. So there's options out there. And, alongside with Ravion Pierce, who they're going to look to a lot for, their senior tight end. A lot of people are saying he's going to be an NFL tight end. So hopefully him and Dungy has got something going on this year. And like we talked about earlier with the running backs coming out of the backfield. So there's options.
Yeah, there's a lot of options.
It just comes down to just the consistency. We're not asking for an Amba at a Towel. We're not asking for a Steve Ishmael. We're just asking for some guys that can go out and just catch the ball at a consistent level.
Basic wide receiver stuff.
Yeah.
That's all you got to do, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because there's plenty of guys, And like you said, they're going to be fighting. While they're still teammates, it's wide open. So you want minutes, you better make the plays.
Yeah, there's definitely there's plenty of speed and there's plenty of height, especially with the outside receivers. And what really lacks is the experience. And the guys that are experienced, like we talked about, having a inconsistency of catching the ball. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens out of camp. And it's not even close to being over. And if I was a betting man, I would bet that who's ever starting receivers the first week might not even be the same starting receivers week 2 or week 3. So that's going to move around, and there's going to be a lot of substitutions and stuff, and eventually the cream's going to rise to the top.
Yeah. What about did you touch on tight ends briefly?
Well, there's not too much.
Yeah, there's not a whole lot going on there, is there?
Ravion Pierce, because of how good he really is.
We all know that name, right?
Yes, and it's only going to be. It's even going to be even more after this year. I mean, he's going to be one of those guys that, we have Aaron Hackett, Jesse Connors, a couple other guys who might come in, give him a spell and stuff like that. But when you have a tight end like that, when you have NFL guys coming and checking out Ravion Pierce as an NFL tight end, and a lot of people talking about him like that, and you could see the pass catching ability last year. He's just got to get more opportunities. So hopefully he can stay away from some dumb penalties and dumb plays that he had last year. But he definitely was a playmaker, and he's definitely going to have to be relied upon. The other guys are more going to be for substitution spells for Ravion Pierce, so he can get some breathers and just basically blocking. So that's pretty much
blocking. We mentioned blocking. Blocking's going to be key, and we heard Babers talk about the offensive line. So what there is going to be different this year that's going to make them better? Why do you think Dungy's so high on them this year as compared to last year?
Well, Dungy, the coach, I remember a couple years ago when I saw a bunch of their freshmen and they were starting. And I just remember, the offensive line, it was we were starting a lot of young guys when Schaefer was there near the end, and then with Dino Babers when he got some of his recruits in there. And I just remember thinking, this could be ugly early, but when these guys get 2-3 years under their belt, then we're going to have a pretty experienced offensive line, especially when we had injuries like the Aaron Roberts injury last year. I hit on it last podcast. He was supposed to be one of our best offensive linemen last year, and he got hurt in the offseason, and he sat out, and he's back this year, and now he's fighting for his position. So that just kind of tells you how much growth, and Dino Babers in AZC Media Day, he talked about how big and strong they are. So when you take away the fact that you have, I think, 7 or 8 different offensive linemen that have actually started a decent amount of games, we had 4 guys already that had started pretty much all year last year with Cody Conway and Aaron Cervais, Sam Heckel, and Evan Adams. And then we get Aaron Roberts back. So, that looks like that's going to be the starting lineup with a couple other subs who've had some experience. And then we go ahead and we get this graduate transfer, Coda Martin from Texas A&M. He started 7-8 games for Texas A&M last year at tackle. So
that's he's a grad, right? You said that.
Yeah,
right?
He's a graduate transfer. His father is the His father is the quarterback coach that just got hired this past year, and he's married to Dino Babers' daughter. So he's Dino Babers' son-in-law.
And yeah, right.
So I mean, there's a lot of right. So he doesn't want to let him down, and
make an awkward Thanksgiving.
Yeah, you know what I mean. So and they're already talking about him pretty much one of those things where they kind of know that he's coming in and playing, taking a starting role, probably taking McGloster, the tackle that we lost last year on the right side, probably taking his position. But you never know. Him and Cody Conway, they might switch left side, right side, depending. But either way, to know that we have that kind of experience, 4 starters from last year, and then you bring in a guy that was supposed to be your best lineman last year off an injury, and then another graduate transfer from an SEC school that is a starter. So we have depth, and even if when other guys who think that they should be starting get a chance to get some reps, then they're going to be putting out too. So it's just one of those things where I'm just excited to see that. Now obviously they have to produce, but they weren't awful last year. I mean, they weren't as bad last year as they were the year before, and they're just getting older, and they're the same guys. So, with that one transfer, so you just got to hope that's going to be the thing that can get us over the edge and hopefully push that running game over the edge, because right now the reliability of our receivers is shaky at best.
We don't know.
Right.
It's an unknown. So, and you think about it, and it's already the 15th of August. Isn't their first game in 16 days?
Yes, sir. The 31st, yeah.
16 days. You guys, you know how depressing that is for me? It is so depressing to think about the summer winding down.
Oh God.
My gosh, man.
You live in Virginia
sucks.
Beach. Summer isn't over until October. Get out of here.
Yeah, but the ocean still gets cold. The nights get cooler. It starts to suck. It does. It does. It starts to suck.
Cry me a river.
Cry me a river. Hey, and by the way, I'm drinking one of your beers that you left here. It's like it doesn't fit. They're Michelob Ultras. It's like fizzy water at best.
Oh, here we go.
It's like fizzy water at best. It doesn't fit inside of a can koozie because they make these really long, skinny cans.
Mm-hmm.
And, I mean, so what do you do? How do you keep it cool? Because, I guess you just got to drink it fast, right? Is that how it works?
Well, I mean, you saw me. Yeah. And I wouldn't even lie either, okay? Because as you had strongly pointed out last time, we cleaned that cooler out. So don't sit here and act like you didn't like them and go and just buy yourself some more.
I had maybe one or two at the end of the night because all the good stuff was gone.
Oh, no, because you said that we cleared out the fridge, so I finished my beer, so now you have a Michelob Ultra, so you must have went out and got
this is your beer. No, trust me, I'm not buying that.
You must okay.
If it came in a regular can, I might buy it. Maybe. If I'm a little thicker in the midsection than Joe. Midsection, I mean my gut.
That's from the Mick Ultras, bro. Why do you think they make long, skinny cans? sorry, they don't fit in your
2.6
koozie.
carbs, 95 calories. Ooh, the skinny man's beer. Okay, I see. All right. Maybe I'll have to switch.
It's beer on a diet.
It is. It's no Yingling. I can tell you that.
Hey, same alcohol content as Budweiser or Bud Light. I mean
Bud Light, yeah, Bud Light.
Yeah. So
anyway, that was our beer segment for this episode.
Awesome. Thanks. Thanks for drinking my beer, a-hole.
No problem. Thanks for leaving it. So.
Well, you practically begged me.
Oh yeah, I did. Oh, totally. I'm surprised I didn't shove it in your trunk when you left.
Figured you'd pour it down the drain. But
yeah. Hey, that's alcohol abuse. I would never do that.
Even just sparkling beer?
No, because my wife might drink it.
Oh, okay. Now he's got more jokes.
Ooh. Yeah, exactly. I do have the sound effects. I never break them out.
Because you're not funny.
It's because I'm always too late. I'm always too late getting to it, and it's like, well, I'm not going to throw in a sound effect late.
Right.
Because it just doesn't work. And we try. It's like it's not funny if you have to explain it, type of thing. And
That's true.
we try not to edit too much. We pride ourselves on, giving you a live show.
And look where this tangent got. All because you were depressed about a football game starting in 16 days. So
yeah. Oh, I just realized it because I'm just thinking to myself, now we're on.
I can't wait.
We're on though now. It's every week. Because next week we're gonna do the defense. Mm-hmm. And then we start games.
Yeah.
So,
sadly, I will actually
be at a wedding
in Syracuse. I'll be up in Syracuse for a wedding the 31st, the day. Actually, the reception starts right when we kick off. So
right. So
I'm still going to try to figure out how to work this, huh?
You haven't watched ESPN app?
Yeah, you're right.
That's Chris's wedding?
Yep.
Chris, shout out to Chris. I remember Chris when we were younger. He's a good dude.
Yeah, good dude. Finally found a good girl that can handle him.
What's he, 35? 34?
I'm not going to talk, so.
Well, you got a good girl. You just found one last year. You got one, 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's done 2 years ago. I'm not married, but, it's good for Chris. I'll be there to support.
Support, yeah, just to, be at the table on your Watch ESPN app. You do like I do. Is just put it like one of those small earbuds in and throw it in your pocket. You don't really need to watch it.
Yeah. No, you're right.
You're right. And then everybody's just like, "Oh, what's Joe doing with the earbud?"
Well, I guess it's at the Genesee Grand, and I've heard that they have TVs at the bars there. So who knows?
Well, there you go.
But I mean, it's just a rumor. I don't really know. I've never been there.
I'm sure.
I need maybe some listener can hear this and answer my question.
Yeah.
Please, if you do know this question.
Scope it out for Joe. Tweet us.
Otherwise, I got to hook up some James Bond stuff.
Yeah, the wire through the shirt. So, all right, next week we'll get back around the same time. We'll try to give it about a week. Maybe hit it up on Wednesday night again. And we'll do defense. And I guess that's about it. You have anything else?
No, I'm just wondering if the defense is going to be 1-0 by the next time we talk about them.
Are they going to have another scrimmage?
Yeah.
Oh, they are?
I think they have one this Saturday. It's the Fam Fest one. So hopefully we can talk to Brandon and see if he's going to be going there with his family. And
yeah, there was
there's a meet and greet, and hopefully also again too we're going to hit up some more. If there's more questions, offensive questions answered as far as wide receivers and some position battles, and we're going to hit that up as well. So
we'll hit that first. And now there's going to be a poll every week. There's going to be a poll every week before games and stuff to talk about. Plus, we'll do the fan feedback segment. All of that's going to be done at SYRBALL on Twitter. At SYRBall on Twitter. So go there, give us a follow. And that way you can answer the polls, because polls are fun. And you know what's even more fun about polls is just watching it change, man,
for
and seeing where everybody's head's at.
What's fun about polls is picking the majority. You want to pick the right answer.
Yeah, exactly. You want to be in that group. All right. Yep. Well, I guess that about does it for the ramblings at the end of the podcast. Hey, if no one said we could never fill time, right? I mean, we just filled some time. So
that's true. That's what Michelob Ultra does to you.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
That's why I ramble.
All right, for Joe, I'm Sean. We're out.
Peace.
This has been the Q's Militia Podcast with Sean and Joe. Be heard. Contact us on Facebook at Q's Militia Podcast and tweet at us using hashtag Q's Militia.
And Joe throws down his headset like the true professional he is.